Hi guys, Daniel from Team Kuribrohs here, and today I have James Broderick's first place deck profile of Guru Control from the Kilkenny Regional. So there were 47 players at this event, which meant it was 6 rounds, and James went undefeated playing Guru, which he's been playing pretty much since he got back into the game recently. For those of you who don't know James, he went to Kilkenny with the rest of the team. There was Alvin, Jamie, Craig and James. James may be known because he managed to top 8 the YCS Prague 2016, I believe, playing Pendulum. So James has been about a bit. He used to be on CCG before he took a break from the game, and now he is back on Team Kuribrohs. So let's look into the main deck and see what he was playing. So, like I said, James has been playing Subterrors since he got back. He played Subterrors for YCS Dusseldorf 2, YCS Dusseldorf, as Ollie would like to say. But yeah, so based on what he saw at that event and what he'd been seeing locally, this is the list that he ended up on. So he was playing Tree, Fantastical Dragon Phantasme, Tree Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, Tree Subterror Guru, Tree Subterror Fiendess, one Subterror Nemesis Archer, and one Subterror Behemoth Umastrix. And then in addition, he was also playing 2 Artifact Sight and 1 Artifact Moraltech. So that's his monster package. Realistically, here we have triple Subterror Guru as the kind of normal summon engine monster of the deck, and everything else serves some form of utility purpose. So Phantasme and Ash Blossom offer interaction. Phantasme also has excellent synergy with the artifacts, and also Fiendess as well. It allows you to kind of guarantee that you have a serviceable hand when you're going second. In addition, if your opponent is putting monsters onto the board, it gives you extra pressure because you're generally playing games of 2 to 3 turns with this deck. Fiendess, for those who don't know, allows you to negate once you have Guru on the field. Archer and Umastrix both are used in the later turns of the game to give extra pressure to the deck. And then Lancia and Sight offer kind of pseudo floodgates. Moraltech obviously is being used for destruction, but often that can be hitting crucial cards of your opponent's deck. Moving on from this, James is then playing a spell lineup of consistency. That's all the spells do here. So Extravagance is the reason that the deck is good at the moment. It is Pot of Greed. It allows him to draw 2 cards at the cost of 6 cards from his extra deck. But as we're going to see with the extra in a little bit, the extra is not very important for this deck. Following that is Duality. Again, the deck doesn't care too much to special summon during its own turn. As such, the drawback of Duality isn't too big of a deal, and being able to find that Guru is so crucial that it's worth playing. And then we have Triple Hidden City. Again, find Guru and you get to do stuff, so that's really great. In addition to that, if you open Hidden City, not only searches your Guru, but then lets you activate Guru to search either Final Battle or Fiendess, whichever you require in the situation. And then we also have 2 Terraforming, which searches for the Hidden City. Following this, we have the trap cards. So James opted to play no continuous traps in the main deck. The logic behind this is that while there can be only one is quite strong, there's a lot of back row removal in the format, and it also meant that he wasn't able to play multiple Gurus on the field at the same time, so this way he's able to start building a larger board than he could and really put on pressure onto the opponent. So, Tree Subterror Final Battle. This is a card which had been going between 2 and 3 in testing. Tree is what he's gone with. It gives so much pressure to the deck. It not only allows you to activate your effects during your opponent's turn, but it also means that you can make Guru a massive threat and Umastrix the largest creature in the format. So that's really impactful. And again, it just generates infinite value because it just keeps recurring itself. Following this, we have Tree Artifact Sanctum. Sanctum allows him to summon Sight during his opponent's turn, and it also means that opponents are more cautious to use spell and trap card removal versus the deck, which is excellent. Again, if people are maining Twin Twisters but they don't feel like using them, that's an excellent spot to be in. Then we have Triple Solemn Strike. This is the only trap card that can't be activated in response to spell or trap removal. But it does give such a strong effect against the decks that it hits that is really worthwhile playing. And then finally, we have Triple Heavy Storm Dusters. Not only is Dusters great against Salamangreat and Sky Striker, but also you can use it to destroy your own artifact cards to disrupt your opponent during your turn, or during their turn. So really versatile. We'd been discussing this list a lot before the event, and I quite like it. The idea of moving away from the continuous floodgates, which we've seen to be very inconsistent, is quite an interesting move, and it's definitely something we'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on as well. So moving on from the main deck, we now have the side deck. So first off, we'll start with the extra deck. The extra deck is kind of weird in this, because for the most part you're just expecting it to be banished for extravagance. You really hope that you're opening with extravagance just because it's free advantage. So we have 10 fusion monsters. So we have 2 Salamangreat Violet Chimera, 2 Starving Venom Fusion Dragon, 2 of the Predaplant Dragophilia, 2 Diplexer Chimera, and 2 Mud Dragon of the Swamp. These are all super situational cards, but realistically they could be summoned, and the times that you do summon them, they're very impactful. And then we have 1-ofs of Tornado Dragon, Nightmare Unicorn, Nightmare Phoenix, Link Kuriboh, and Subterror Behemoth Fiend. So realistically, we're not going into this much. Again, we'll see some fusion spells in the side deck, which might make these cards, but you have some problem solvers if they come up. Going into the side deck, we have Triple Dino Wrestler Pankratops. As mentioned at YCS Dusseldorf, Pankratops was the most seen side card. It is super versatile. It lets you clear floodgates, one of the reasons that they're not so great. It also is a really big body, which is very relevant when Salamangreat and Sky Striker are the most represented decks. So very versatile card, and again, it doesn't interact negatively with this deck, with the exception of Duality. So really good to kind of solve problems if they come up in games 2 and 3. Then we have Triple Artifact Lancia. Lancia effectively is a floodgate. It stops Thunder Dragons and it stops the Danger Orcus deck. So really nice coverage from the card. You already are playing an artifact package, so might as well put this in. Then finally we have Triple DD Crow for hand traps. Again, Crow has really broad coverage, so it seemed like a good card to bring in, particularly for a regional. Then James had Fusion of Fire and Super Polymerization. These allow him to remove problem cards from the field. Super Polymerization in particular is incredibly strong when it resolves, because your opponent can't respond to it. So being able to turn their board pressure into threats of your own is really impactful. Then finally there's Triple Evenly Matched for going second, and then Imperial Order, because it does make the Striker matchup incredibly favored, despite the fact that Striker is normally a really tough matchup for this deck. So that's the list. Again, we see it being quite different to what had been played at the YCS. And now we're just going to go through the matchups that James played, and then finally a little bit of reasoning as to why he was playing the deck the way he did. So he went against Salamangreat round 1, went 2-0. He played against Crystal Wing Turbo Sky Striker round 2 and went 2-0. That sounds like an interesting deck, and definitely would be interested to see what it looks like. Then round 3 he played against Salamangreat, winning 2-1. Round 4 he played against Vladis from ARG, who was playing Lair Infernoid. And he 2-0'd the Infernoid deck. Infernoid doesn't have much coverage against this deck, I don't think, as Void Imagination doesn't do anything, and additionally banishing from the graveyard isn't very effective against this deck either. Then round 5 he played against Danger Thunder Dragon and won 2-1, and then round 6 played against True Draco and won 2-0. So overall he was really happy with the event. Again, after playing YCS Dusseldorf 2, he realized that the floodgates were not as effective as he would have liked. And so this is the build that he moved towards, as it allowed Guru to be more impactful, being able to summon multiple Gurus, and then having cards such as Phantasme meant that he had a better matchup against decks like Sky Striker. Didn't really come up at this event, but being able to have a Phantasme plus a Guru on field means that you can push a lot more pressure on your opponent. Additionally, he had noticed that Twin Twisters was a really impactful card against the deck at Dusseldorf. And so by moving to reactive spells and traps, it meant that he was able to punish opponents for playing Twin Twisters and still have a lot more game left after the opponents did resolve the card. Yeah, and then finally he said that maining the Heavy Storm Dusters also meant that if you drew artifacts, you were able to trigger them yourself, and it gave you a better matchup against Sky Striker. So that's his list. Congratulations to James for topping the event. Sorry that we don't have him for this, but he's very busy with work at the moment. So if you have any thoughts on the deck, please do let us know. Do you think that this is the direction that Subterror should be heading going forwards? Or do you think that this is cute for an event, but that overall the continuous trap floodgates are far more impactful and definitely worth playing? I'd love to hear your thoughts. This is Daniel signing out. Thanks for joining us, guys.